Hello and welcome to this webinar about Audaces 4D. I'm very happy to be here with my colleague Marta from Italy. Do you want to introduce yourself quickly?
Yes, thank you, Joanna. Hi, everybody. Thanks to be here. I'm Marta Garilli from Audaces Italia, and I'm the responsible for our client support. So I help the clients with our softwares, and I train them. So I explain how our software works to our clients and distributors.
Great. Yeah, and Marta and we work together a lot. However, I am working in Audaces Brazil, but I'm a German girl, so we're in a very multinational team, and I am the product owner of Audaces 4D. So I'm responsible for all the features, the communication with the clients, the customers, the communication with Marta if there's any problems, also doing like the first level training whenever we have new tools, and really staying in contact with the market and the clients. Yeah.
Yes.
So today we want to talk a bit more about Audaces 4D, which is a very innovative and new solution to the market. And I'm just going to start by trying to take you on a little journey on how fashion development works. Because usually you have designers, you have pattern makers, then you have the prototypes, you have the whole team of fashion creation. But let's start with the designers. So the designers usually create their garments, their ideas on paper, or they use Corel Draw or Adobe Illustrator or other solutions that are in the market. And then if the garment is approved by their manager, for example, for the collection, they give it to the pattern maker. And the pattern maker needs to take this design, the sketch, usually in 2D flat, and make a pattern out of it. But usually there is a miscommunication. So drape is really difficult to show in 2D designs. The fabric, how it falls, how it has the volume, is really complicated. So usually there's always communication back and forth. How did you think that? How did you plan it? Is it above the knee? Is it below? What are the proportions? What fabric did you think of? Because all this influences in the end the pattern making. And so after this communication is done, the pattern maker has the finished pattern, and then it goes to prototyping. And usually there are adjustments needed, which are due to miscommunication. So, I wanted it to be a bit higher or a bit shorter or a bit narrower or a bit wider, the skirt. And this has a lot of potential for things going wrong and losing time, losing money, losing fabric. And in a sustainable way, this is not how it should be. And if you think on another scenario, you have a company that produces, for example, a variety of basic shirts in a lot of different colors and patterns. And then they would need to prototype every single t-shirt to really feel and see how it looks. And also this is not very sustainably. And so in this area, Audaces 4D steps in. So it's a tool directly focused on designers, and you can create directly in a 3D environment, but with a big difference to traditional 3D solutions, that you do not need any patterns. So you start directly in the design process because 3D software on the market starts with a pattern. And in Audaces 4D, we start with a designer working on a three-dimensional avatar, cutting, draping, changing patterns like prints and the textures of the garment, simulating how the fabric will behave, and really getting to understand how the final product should look like. So it really frees the creation of the designers, the creativity, the spirit, and you can really explore everything without making a single cut in fabric and without having any pattern knowledge. So what are the benefits of 4D is really that you optimize the whole creation process because you start with a 3D virtual garment that you can share with everyone. So You are able to communicate with your pattern maker, and they know how is the cut, how is the drape, how is the volume, how is the whole garment planned to be. They can also turn it around, so they really see every detail they need to be able to, because we all know that it's difficult to make a technical sketch, for example, from the side. If you have a sleeve detail and if you try to make a technical sketch from the side, it is really complicated. And so you can show this virtual garment to all of your team members, but also to your end customers. So there's a lot of companies who work with like customized garments like t-shirts, or we have clients that do bike wear, and so they work with teams. You can work with football teams, or you can also work with workwear, and then you can collaborate in that process directly with your clients and show them, this is where we thought the logo should be, this is how the proportions will be, and they can directly understand the garment. And this is really difficult in a 2D sketch, for example. So you can quickly test everything and communicate about this, and this will cut time. This will also avoid and reduce a certain amount of prototypes that are due to miscommunication or confusion. And so you can approve your garments way faster and accelerate the whole process. So yeah, Audaces 4D is a very interesting, and also I think very fun solution for the designers in the creative process. And I think now it's amazing to have Marta here to show how we can really dive into this.
Yes, absolutely. I just wanted to attach something about from what Joanna just said. That is some stories about our clients. For example, we have a client that does, we can say, formal wear. So they create jackets, dresses. So they are really they have a really full amount of garments that they do, so of a lot of different types, and they are creating everything in the 4D, and from the 4D they are then working on the pattern, and then they already created some prototypes, more or less directly from the 4D. So they had to just check some adjustments in the patterns that they took from the 4D, and they created the patterns, and their feedback was really, really good. They said that for the women's wear they had really few things to check, that was just related on some adjustment that even in the normal work life of a pattern maker you have. And then for the same thing was for the men's. So for the men's that were more complex garments, that were jackets, etc., they had to check a little bit the measurements, but nothing more. So in really like 2-3 weeks, they had already some real prototypes that they knew already how to solve the problem, or better, the imperfections that they had in the models. This is the first one. Or we have another client that does evening dresses or wedding dresses. So that does really wide skirts with complex tops, and does everything in 4D to show to the clients what is the product that they are going to sell to them. Or there is another company that does climbing garments. So the 4D, it's really you have a wide possibility to create your any type of garments, because it's really easy to use. And as Joanna said, we can say that everyone can use it, because you don't need to be a pattern maker to use the 4D. because it's really simple. You will see now that we will share the screen. It's really simple. It has a few tools, but that are really powerful, and helps you to create any type of garment that you have in your mind, and you will have in really few time your idea directly on a 3D avatar. So the 4D, we can say that for us it's a little bit the future of designers, we can say. So
Definitely.
now we share the screen. When you open the Audaces 4D, you will face this first window where you can select in which avatar you want to work. We have baby, child, female, female plus size, male, male plus size, and male teens. In that case, you see that I have even another mannequin that is not in the standard list, because from this new version that we have even the possibility to import new avatars. In that case, going on file, import mannequin. If you have an FBX file of a mannequin, you have the possibility to import it inside of our Audaces 4D. But for now, today we are going to see how to work in our standard avatars. We go in female, because we are going to use that mannequin today, and then I click on OK. Okay, so I will just start talking about a little bit of the interface. In the left part, we find the library that is divided in default garments and user garments, because in that case, we have the possibility to use some standard garments that we find in our software. So for example, if I cancel the standard mesh, I can insert, for example, this dress that I can use as base for all my creations, to help me to fasten my creations. And we have different models for each avatar. In this new version, for example, we have even the possibility to add accessories as caps, for example. And then we have this default tab, but we have even the user tab, because if you are a company that always creates very similar garments, you have the possibility to save your own default garments and use it later for your creations. And
For
this
example,
is another thing that will help you to speed up the process of creation.
yeah, we have, for
So,
example, a company that works with bike wear. So they have their
mhm.
basic jacket, their basic shirts, their basic like jumpsuit, and then when they develop their collections, they just put the prints on it, and so they can do the visual approval of the prints, and it really accelerated their whole collection process in like amount of time that they never thought about it. So this user library is a very, very important part, Mata. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And even a lot of clients use this because you have a lot of different models. You have dresses, you have jackets, you have shirts, you have pants. So it's really complete as library. In the top left part, we find the principal tabs of our software that are divided in home, that is for that has some more, we can say, general tools that are for to add models to a previous one, show or hide the library, show or hide the symmetry line, show or hide the guidelines. Even the guidelines is a new tool, and it's really, really important, and it was a really good news in the 4D, because it helps the clients or the designers to understand exactly where they are working, and having the guidelines, the models will be a lot more precise, and having all these lines, you will really understand all the levels of the garments that you are creating. Then we have system preferences that in this case are just the mannequin color that you can choose a precise color or use simply the texture. The garment that is the base garment color. And here in measurements, the unit measures that you want to use in the software. In that case is because when we will see that when we will create a cut in our garment, in the bottom right part, we will see the measure of that cut. Then we have the knowledge base and the publish to ISA buttons that are to reach our support site, where you can find tutorials or articles that explain the usability of all the softwares of Audaces, and then publish to ISA. That is about ISA. It's our managing software for your collection that maybe you will see in some next webinars, and it's a button that helps you to charge directly from the software in ISA your creations. Then we have the tab of creation, that is the real work, we can say, tab, that has all the tools that you will use to model and cut your piece, and is divided in cutting and joining, and then operations and sculpting. And here you find all the tools that we'll see, most of the tools that we will see today. Then here we have visualization, and in visualization we have a little bit of rendering of our garment, so we can show the environment and here change the location. But in this case, this part is not really related to the location, but more on the light that the location gives to our garments to have, as I said, some rendering of our garment to give the right vibes, we can say.
Yeah, when we export images, that is really important that you can set the environment and that the garment is presented in the lighting that you want.
Exactly, yes. And at the end, in the right part, here it's more related to the appearance of the garment. So colors, textures, transparency, light, the light of the fabric, or stitches, zippers, buttons. So everything related to, as I said, the appearance of the garment. But as I said, we will see everything today now in our webinar. All right, so let's start to create our garment. First of all, the first thing that I do when I start to work in the Audaces 4D, it's always a little bit lower the armhole to be sure that the person that will wear it will have enough space to move the arm. So using the pinch tool, I will use the option drag out. I will activate the symmetry line. I will position under the armhole, and just keeping pressed the left click, I will drag down a little bit in the front and in the back to add a little space in my armhole. In that way. After this, I will use the smooth tool. The smooth tool will become more or less your best friend because it helps you a lot in a lot of situations, because it's the one that cancel a lot of the imperfections that you can do during the work. So maybe you create a little angle when you create a line, you can smooth the angle with the smooth tool. Or you are doing a modifications as I did now, and you don't really like it because you see some imperfections in the fabric, you use smooth to cancel these imperfections. So the smooth tool, it's really, really good and can be used in a lot of situations. So when you activate smooth, you have the strength, that is how much this tool will affect the fabric. So in this case, I don't have to make a big modification, so I can leave it even quite low. And as for model, I just keep press the left click and pass in the under part of the armhole. And it's done. I have created my armhole. I drag it down a little bit, my armhole. The next step is create the real cut of the armhole. So always with the symmetry line enabled, that you can enable here or even in the bottom left part here, in that button. We go in cut with ring tool, we position on the arm, we enlarge the ring using the roll of the mouse, then you keep Control pressed, you use the left circle, the blue circle, keep press the left click and Control together to rotate the circle and position it where you want to have the armhole. Left click and right click. And here you have your armhole.
And you can also see on the list in the right window that you have now 3 separate pieces.
Yes, and you can even name them. So this will be the left sleeve. This will be the right sleeve, and that will be the dress. Okay, so now going on, still using the cut with ring, I will cut the part of the legs because we are going to create a dress. So I want to cut the part of the legs. I will do left click and right click to create the cut, and then clicking on that part, I can cancel it or using the bin or with the cancel button on the keyboard. All right. Then we will use another tool that is the cut with curve. The cut with curve tool is the one that allows me to create straight or curve cuttings. So I will position in the center. I will do left click. And if you want to have the rounded, a curved line, you just need to rotate the roll of the mouse. And if you want to change anything in your curve, you just have to click Ctrl and manage your curve using the axis. So I will do left click, keep press the right click to rotate, and I will just close my line in the center back. Now I'm closing a line, so in that case I didn't have to confirm my line using the right click. What I said before, I said that if in any case I had an angle, I could smooth it using the smooth tool. So not so much strength. I will just click and pass with the smooth tool to avoid any angle. And as before, I will cancel that part using the bin. Okay, so now I click on the sleeves and I will cut here to create a little cuff. So I will use cut with ring, left click and right click. All right, so now let's create the dress. With the dress, I'm going to create to really enlarge the dress, because then I will show you the shear tool. So to enlarge and make longer the dress, I will use the pinch with ring tool. Here we have the radial growth. The radial growth is how much volume we are going to add to our garment. In this case, I don't want it to be too wide, so I will use a quite low radial growth. I will start from the chest and keeping pressed the left click, I will drag it down. Until I reach the length that I want. When it is in the right length, I use cut with ring again to cut a linear total. So I will do left click and right click. And then I want to create a line on the waist. But in this case now it's a bit difficult to see the body under the dress. So I can use the net visualization, the wireframe visualization, to see the position of the waist, and I can even enable the guidelines that will help me to find the exact position of the waist. I will do left click and right click to confirm the cut. When I have done this, I can leave out the guidelines and the wireframe. And first of all, I will cancel the total. And then I will go in creation, shear. And the shear, it's really easy to use. Here you click and you simply have to rotate the roll of your mouse. And here you have your shearing. You can add more strength to your shearing.
Yes.
To make the process faster. And you can even activate the gravity to see in real life how your shear will appear. In that case, talking about gravity, I can click on the skirt and here in Simulate, activate the gravity to see how my skirt will fall. But how I decide how my skirt will fall? Deciding which type of fabric I will use to create my skirt. In that case, you see that here I have jeans, cotton, lace, leather, plastic or silk. In that case, you see it's a little list of fabrics because in that case, they are not related to the appearance of the fabric, but they are related on how it reacts to the gravity. So let's make some example. With the cotton, that it's a lot lighter than the jeans, you see that the fabric goes a lot closer to the body and creates a complete different effect of the shearing. Or if I use, for example, the leather, that it's even more heavy than the lace, the gravity is still even more different from the cotton, and it's even more different from the jeans because the leather quite doesn't move. It just a little bit interact with the gravity. So it depends a lot on the type of fabric that you are using. Because, for example, if you are using, let me think, you are using maybe a strong cotton or a jersey, for example, in that case, you have to understand the type of jersey that you are using. So if it's better to use a jeans or a cotton, looking at the type of fabric that you are going to use. So after this, I want to show you how to create a little collar. So to create the collar, I will double that piece. So going here, I will double the piece. And always with the cut with curve, I will just create a little collar. So I will start from here. Left click. And I just draw my color. I'll go back and create the shape. Now I have to cancel the part that is not needed, we can say. So all this part, and I can cancel using the bin. Now I will select the color to smooth a little bit the angle. Here and here. And then I will use the sculpt option. The sculpt option it can be used in two ways. The sculpt option has this name because make closer the fabric to the body. But then here we have the extrusion option that is used to the opposite reason. So to make the fabric farther from the body. So I will use the extrusion with a really low strength because I just want a little space between the two models, and I just have to click to do left click and pass on the color. Okay, so I will just do like this and create a little space. All right, you see that in my garment I have blue and green lines because the blue lines are not, then the green lines are sewed. So in that case I need to sew these two lines. I will go in sew on that line and on this other line. I will do right click. I want to keep the first line steady and then the other to move. So the first line will be the collar one, the neck one, and the second one will be the collar. Right click, and here we have our color. So now that is sewed, I can use sculpt again to add a little of more volume all around the collar to create a more real effect. Use the sew tool simply to sew that color, but the sew tool, it's really useful to do a lot of things. For example, you want to copy the color or the pocket of a garment to or you want to sew a pocket on your model, you can do this. So the sew tool, it's really helpful in a lot of situations. Today I just show you a really simple one situation where you can use your these tools. Okay, so going on, I'm going to create the opening. So in that case, I will position here. I will use the cut with curve position in that point, and I will simply drag a straight line here. Sorry. So in that part, now I'm going to insert some buttons. So I will leave out the symmetry line and I will activate the guideline to have a reference where to put the buttons. If I go here in the bottom right part, here I find the icon of the button. I can go here in buttons, and I want to use this button here. I will open, position, and then I can change the measure of that button. And if you want, you can even rotate it using the green spot. But in this case, I want it to stay straight. So I will just modify. And after that, my button is in the right measure. I can simply copy and insert. Another new tool here is is this one that is used in that occasion when you insert a button to understand, to enable and disable the independent transparency of the print. So in this case, I want to enable it, and in that case, it means that this button will have an independent transparency, so will not take the same properties that we're going to give to the fabric. I will copy now that button to position in the line. And I will create my line of buttons. Of course, if you need to do any change, you can click on the button and move it. After you moved your buttons, now we can see some trims. So how the appearance of our garment. Here I will select. Oh, sorry. Before doing this, I will select the sleeves and I will add some volume even to them. So I will go in simulate, inflation, and I will add some volume here to create some shearing effect even on the sleeves. Now that the sleeves are sheared, I will click on the first piece, and then clicking the shift, I will click on the last one to select all the pieces, and then we'll start to see some looks for our garment. I can select a fabric texture. So for example, I said jeans, so I can select, for example, a denim. I will say this one, open. And if you go really near, you see that now in my garment, I have the trim of a particular type of denim. When you insert the texture of the garment, it brings you even a pattern of the fabric. But if you don't want it, you can delete, and the trim will stay, and you can decide a precise color. You can select your color here, and you can see in real time the color applied to your garment. A little bit more green. Okay. And if you want to save your color, you just have to click and drag it here. Or if you have a code, you can insert your code here, and then you click OK. But of course, even you can have color, but you can have even
Prints.
all over prints. Yes.
Yeah.
So if I cancel the color, I can select a fabric pattern, open, and here you have your pattern that of course you can enlarge or reduce. And as you see, all the parts are independent. So you can take one part and rotate it, or you can change the position, or you can enlarge or reduce, as I said, or you can even modify the image. So if you want it to be smaller or thinner, or you want to mirror the image, or you want to flip the image, you can do all of these modifications in your print. But let's stay with the color. In that way, I can show you how to insert localized prints. So using this first tool, the one near the bottom, I can select another print, for example. I will open, and you can position your print where you want. So you click and position, and as for the buttons, you can change the measure and rotate, and even here you can activate its own independent transparency, and even here you have the possibility to modify the print as you want. Okay, so after this we can see some sewings, some stitchings. In that case, to select the sew, you click on Control, you click on the lines where you want to have the stitch, you go here in Seam, Properties, Stitch. In this case will be Seam. I select the simple one. It will open it here. You can select the color. In that case, I will take this color, but will be a little bit darker. You can select single, double, or triple. You can, in the preview, you can make longer the stitch. You can make the wider the thread. You can make the stitch is more distance. So you have different possibilities. Or I will show you now, just to give you the visual, just to show you how to insert a zipper. It's really easy. You just select the line where you want to have the zipper. You go in Properties, Stitch. In this case, I will select the simple zipper. I will open. And here in the preview, I will make it a little bigger to show you better. And here you have your zipper. So you see that even this, in really few clicks, you have the possibility to see how would look your model if it had the zipper instead of the buttons, for example. Okay, but in that case, I'm going to cancel it. And that's not all, because you have the possibility to copy the style of this print. So right click, copy, and paste. So it's really direct, the modification, and it's really easy to insert a lot of details and anything that you have in your mind. And I think that another important thing to show is the pencil tool that brings you from the edit mode to the preview mode. You can decide to enable or disable the visualization of the mannequin. Here, as we said, we have the environment, so you can decide which is the best visualization for your garment, in which light you like it more. And then if you want to show the environment, you can take it, or you can leave it as planned, and here you can decide the background color as you did for the color of the dress. And then here you can rotate your model. You can decide the direction of the rotation and the speed of the rotation. That's really useful to show at 360 100 degrees the garment to your clients. So, Joanna, you think that you want to add anything on what I showed?
So you can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let me just show you this quick dress. It is also done in 4D, and I have added some different shear effects because in the recent version, we have added different types of shearing. So on the one side, we have the seam where you added your stitching, but we also have shearing. So we have a library of different types of shears that I can add. Let me just delete this one. So you see that is really a nice texture. So I select the texture and it's going to be applied here. And I have a lot of different options. I can change the depth and you can see the effect changes. I can also change the opening of the shear, like where I want it to be directed. I can also change the proportions, so I can change it to small, but I want to have it a bit bigger, so I change it to medium. And I can also change the positioning, so I want that it's really, it looks like it was created here. And I did the same here on the skirt. But on the bottom side of the skirt, on this overlapping going underneath, it looks like the skirt is simulated a bit heavier. So what we did here is we went into our trims and print section, and I have applied a different style. We call it normal map. So I have a library here as well with different pleats, and I can apply it here. And as you see, for me, it's in the wrong direction. So I use the tool that Marta referred to, and I just mirror it. And then I can enlarge it, rotate it a bit, and I can also change the depth here. So I want to have it like this, and it's going to be here. Let's take it here. So these are the two new types of sharing we have here. And we have also the possibility to add sharing on the whole mesh. So if I want to have like a special texture, I can also select this here. And for example, I want to be a bit more ruffled. So I can change the depth here as well. I can change the proportions. I can make it a bit more narrow. And then I have different types of textures in our garments. So yeah, that's just a little add-on. But I think, yeah, 4D for us, it's a really nice and fun, complete solution for the designers to create their designs and for the whole team to really understand how the garment will look in the end. So I think that's it from our side. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And if you have any questions, you can send it to the Audaces support channel. You can send it to the Audaces website or also through our YouTube channel. So please feel free to get in contact with us. Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. Thank you for watching.